This episode of Lady Gang is brought to you by Olive & June. Get $20 off your first Manny system when you use code LadyGang at oliveandjune.com. Your new nail life has arrived. Welcome to the Lady Gang. You're about to listen to our podcast, but there is so much more our community has to offer. Follow us at the Lady Gang, join our secret Facebook group, shop our clothing line, books, and find out when we're going to be in your city at theladygang.com. We're so excited you're here. Enjoy the show.
Well, what is this?
Welcome to the Lady Gang.
That's amazing. Say that again.
The Lady Gang.
Things are about to change around here.
Each week, we catch up with Hollywood's hottest girl posse, Kelty Knight, Becca Tobin, and Jack Vanek.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Lady Gang. I'm Becca Tobin here with Jack Vanek and Kelty Knight. And later you'll hear that we're basically morphing into the same person. And Chelsea Handler, our guest today, confirms. She confirms.
I mean, it's what we all knew. It's what we all knew. It's
true.
Okay.
It happens. It's like how you start looking like your dogs.
Yeah.
You know, that's us. Well, I want to kick it off because I just want I'm sure everybody's fast forwarding through this part anyway, because we finally have like the best guest ever. So it's time for
Good week.
Yes, it is.
Bad week. Oh, no.
Is it terrible for me to say that my good week is having Chelsea on the podcast? Is it so like
yes,
a cop out?
Yeah, it's a cop out, but you're also like filming a movie, writing a book. So like I give you full permission.
But she's legitimately somebody who I have been invested in her career from the beginning. Like I have been a fan, like a true fan of this person from like I 2000. Like it's been 20 years that I've been following this woman and really respecting everything she does or touches or makes.
So here's the thing. You can use this as a good week, but you can't do this again the next time somebody you like comes on.
But we've had like two people that I actually care about on this podcast.
Okay, you also can never say that again.
Honestly, same.
Okay. Well, anyways, Chelsea was amazing and we've already recorded with her. And I woke up this morning like it was Christmas. I was so nervous.
Me too. I had like butterflies.
I was jittery. I don't even think I'll listen to this because I'll be so critical of the way that I talk to her. Cause here we go. I hate myself. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to say that anymore. Okay. But anyways, my bad week is this. I have been not doing my own hair and makeup because I've been working. And so you go to work every day and somebody does your hair and makeup. It's so lovely. It sounds more glamorous than it is. But on the weekend, my friend came in town and I was like, oh, I'm going to do my hair and curl my hair and put on makeup. And I'm in a hotel room. And so I'm naked. I'm just nude. There's no big windows for people to see through. I was just doing my hair, curling my hair, just totally naked. And my hair is so long right now. It's like nipple length.
It's so long.
It's very long.
And I burned the out of my nipple while curling my hair. It is so disgusting. I should have asked Chelsea if like what I should rub on a burned areola.
Ouch.
She probably would have known.
She would have known. Like, I'm afraid.
Probably some kind of something that people use for breastfeeding injuries.
Yes. So I have the most tender nipple. Everything rubs on it. I want to scream. And I'm afraid that, I'm afraid it's going to scab over and then fall off and then I will have no nipple. And, but I'm going to keep you posted. If Instagram wouldn't remove it, I would send a picture for Instagram, but I won't.
You should probably put one of those like blister Band-Aids on it. Like the round blister Band-Aid.
I had a blister Band-Aid for my heel in my bag at work. And I thought I'm going to put this on my nipple to protect it. Cause it's just really, it hurts.
Yeah.
The blister
is rubbing off on it.
The blister Band-Aid I put it on. It's sticky everywhere. There's no gauze portion of a blister Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So then, I go to remove the blister Band-Aid and it's sticky. Whose design was that? That is
a man
flaw.
No, I think there's like medication in it or something that's supposed to like help heal the blister while it
ripped off a layer of skin.
Ouch.
So
the next time someone makes a nipple Band-Aid, I need them to test it on their ball sack first.
Well, it's not specifically for nipples. It's for like your heel.
Oh, okay.
It's just all that I had.
It's actually not for nipples at all.
No, not even a
because
little.
who the f- would need a nipple Band-Aid? You know what I mean?
This idiot.
They definitely exist. Somebody's making them out there.
I mean, there's those nipple covers that are silicone, but that would hurt too. So
That's
I'm
basically just like a big blister Band-Aid.
I know. So I'm just braless and flawless. Okay. Who's next?
Every day.
I'll go. So for my good week, it's been a while, but I have a new word for the Lady Gang dictionary, and it is COVID. Scientists discover a new strain of COVID called Hovid being spread in nightclubs by bitches who knew they had COVID but couldn't fight the hoe in them, so they decided to go out anyway.
Oh my God.
This is
I know a few people that caught COVID.
I know. Same.
No, Hovid is a person who goes out knowing they have COVID.
Yeah.
That's a terrible fucking person. I'm sorry.
They're COVID hoe. I mean, that's how it was spreading in all of the bars and stuff. People are just like, you know what? I need to go, and I need to get the D so badly that I'm just going to go out there and spread it around.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope those people got a special kind of STD. Like one that doesn't go away.
I was like, this is
no cream for that. No Band-Aid for that STD.
Nope, there's not. Okay, so my bad week is the battery in my car died last week, and it died after I was picking up sandwiches from Larchmont, which is the best sandwich place
ever
in LA. It's so delicious. So I was in the parking lot. My car wouldn't turn on. I was waiting for AAA, and it was so fucking hot outside, and the sun was like coming into my car window on the driver's side. So I go to the passenger side to like sit and wait for AAA in the shade next to my sandwich bag. He finally comes. He starts like working on my car. I go outside the car and I'm like waiting around, and he keeps staring at me, and he's like staring at my butt. And I'm like, I'm wearing these light blue bike shorts. They're really cute. Maybe my butt looks really good. I don't know what's going on. He finishes my car. It's fine. It's working, kind of, whatever. I go home after I eat my sandwich and all this stuff, and I go to use the bathroom. While I sat in the passenger seat, the side of vinegar that I got for my sandwiches dispersed from the bag. It was all over my seat, and I sat in a bunch of vinegar with light blue bike shorts. And
was it a white vinegar or a balsamic?
No, a balsamic.
Oh no, that looks like
a side of
you
balsamic.
Didn't notice?
No. Well,
is your butt that juicy that it's balsamic aversint?
So what happened is the container opened, it kind of spilled through the bag, and I have black leather seats in my car. So it kind of got on the seats, but not enough to really notice that I had sat on it.
Not enough moisture.
All these splotches of brown all over the back of my light blue shorts.
So it looked like a shadoobie meets period.
Yeah, or maybe it kind of looked like maybe I had shorted my pants and washed them, but didn't really get it all out.
Nasty.
Well, I hope you learned your lesson about wearing baby blue bike shorts.
I didn't. I wore them again. It did come out in the wash.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Wow.
Well, I have a great week, a good fucking week. As you know, the icon that is me has made up the terminology sexy mature, although I didn't make it up. I just stole it from Instagram.
I discovered it. You would have never known if it wasn't for me.
No, it's true. It's true. So over here at LadyGang, we have sexy mature, which is the perfect hashtag for when you're sexy, but you're also a little bit elder. And this is a perfect episode because Chelsea Handler is what I would call sexy mature. Like she looks fucking great naked, but she's not 21. Like, sexy mature.
None of us are.
So
absolutely not.
This fabulous woman wrote to me on Instagram. Her name's Natalie. She's a LadyGang listener. And she said, I have a new hashtag for you. I need you to add to the sexy mature vocabulary.
Oh,
and it is sexy responsible. So it's like, I have a Gucci bag, but I also have a 401k.
I love that.
Oh my God.
I would call I wear a 3-inch heel, but I also have orthotics.
Yes.
In my sneakers.
No, I would think I think Jared is sexy responsible because he's he handles his money really well. And he's like really domestic. I'm like, this is sexy responsible. I love this.
It's like, I'm wearing a hooker red lipstick, but I'm wearing sunscreen. I'm sexy responsible.
It's great.
God.
Does it exist in the hashtag zeitgeist of Instagram?
I'm not sure, and but I'm going to start using it, and let me know if it takes off the way sexy mature has.
We know that if you're going to start using it, it's going to be used because you love you. You are a real.
Okay, so there are currently 3 photos using sexy responsible. The last one, not
Not after this.
December of 2020. And
Okay.
two of them, they're all
About banking.
no, two of them are from one guy. And it's just, this is not a sexy responsible pick, but you can really take that hashtag
maybe
over.
he's
Kelty.
wearing blue light blocker glasses. It's pretty sexy responsible.
That's
Taking care of
true.
your eyes.
I'm watching porn for hours at a time, but I'm wearing my blue light glasses. So it's
There you
fine.
go.
Hot.
Okay. So my good week is that I got a wonderful, that was my good week, sexy responsible. My bad week is I got a very passive aggressive compliment. And I want you guys to know it, like, is this a compliment?
Okay.
She wrote to me, Bridget. I was talking to my husband after listening to LadyGang, and I was like, number one, I wish that Kelty could meet me because I'm so great. Then I realized it's a very Kelty thing to say.
Yeah.
Number two, the problem is I don't like putting the work into friendships either. So we would have the best hang every 3 months, but then we'd never chat to each other in between. Bye.
That's hilarious.
She's definitely a Kelty.
She's you.
Yeah. I think that is a compliment only to you. Question
But
mark?
it's like, she's like, I was listening to LadyGang and I really wish that you could meet me and we could be friends in the way you're friends with people, which is terribly. Like, I don't know if I am happy
She
about
knows
this.
you. She gets you.
I mean, I appreciate that you get me, but also I have many wonderful qualities that I want the listeners of LadyGang to start realizing and commenting on because I'm not getting enough feedback about the great parts of me. I'm only getting the feedback about the asshole parts of me. Thank you for coming to my Kelt Talk.
Kelt Talk.
God.
When we come back, we're going to Chels Talk.
Oh, wow.
Hello, you sexy ass bitches. This week's theme for Lady Secrets is friendship. And when you think of friendship, you always think about, the good bonds that you have with your girlfriends. But I know that you've done some f***ed up shit to a friend before, and we want to hear about it. You need to write us in your cringy, shameful, guilty secrets. You can write us at theladysecrets.com about, getting caught shit-talking your friend. Maybe you slept with your friend's dad. I want to know how that was. Or do you just constantly social climb your way to the top? Get this shit off your chest and write to us at theladysecrets.com, or you can call and leave us a little voice note if you prefer talking. 1-844-SEXY-LADY. That's 1-844-SXY-LADY. Make these stories juicy. We want the juice.
All right. So I am a salon convert. I no longer go to the nail salon because I use the Olive and June Mani system. I practice what I preach. I was just in Vancouver for the past month doing a movie, and your nails need to look beautiful and they need to look done and you need to look together. I used Olive and June Mani set to get myself ready and to do every weekend. I would give myself a new manicure. I love the colors BEB and EC for nice neutral colors, but they have every color you can think of, everything to be on trend, neutral, fun, bold. I'm obsessed with this nail system because it has everything you need to give yourself a salon quality manicure. And don't even get me started on how long it stays without chipping, 7 days or more. And their cuticle serum is what dreams are made of. It's not an oil, so it's not oily and greasy. You put it on, but it works. So your new nail life is here. Get 20% off your first Mani system when you use promo code LadyGang at oliveandjune.com. That's promo code LadyGang at oliveandjune.com. We are done with expensive bad manis. This is the new us now. Okay.
Today's episode of Lady Gang is brought to you by Storyworth. So you know what? The holidays, they're going to start creeping up on us. And I know it is so difficult to try to figure out the perfect present for your parents or your relatives or a loved one. And I need to talk to you about Storyworth because it is a game changer. So Storyworth is an online service that helps a loved one share stories through thought-provoking questions about their memories and personal thoughts. And every week, Storyworth emails a different story prompt, questions that you've never thought to ask. Like, what is one of the strangest things that's ever happened to you? And what's a small decision you made that ended up having a big impact on your life? Storyworth is a meaningful way to record your loved one's stories in their own words. And there is literally no shortage of surprises. We're constantly learning something new about our loved ones through Storyworth. So after 1 year, Storyworth will compile every story, including photos, into a beautiful keepsake book that's shipped for free. So Storyworth is a meaningful gift that you and your family can treasure forever. Get started right away with no shipping required by going to storyworth.com/lady. You'll get $10 off your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/lady for $10 off.
So there are two buzzwords for myself, pun intended, that I love very much: seltzer and probiotics. And when you put them together, what do you get? Our amazing sponsor, Huzzah. It's a refreshing, flavorful seltzer with added probiotics and 3 grams of sugar or less. They help put the exclamation point in your day. I love it. Fall is coming. We're going to be out enjoying football games, maybe going apple picking, having a barbecue with friends. You know what? Top that experience off with a Huzzah. They have amazing flavors like raspberry and lemon, strawberry and hibiscus, juicy pear. They're all equally as divine and delicious as they sound. And I want you to fill your fridge by stocking up on Huzzah probiotic seltzer by using code LADY for 20% off your order at drinkhuzzah.com. They are truly delicious drinks. That's code LADY for 20% off at drinkhuzzah.com. I'm going to spell that for you. Drink, HUZZAH.com.
This episode of Lady Gang is brought to you by Starbucks Tripleshot Energy. It's extra strength coffee in a can. Find your Starbucks Tripleshot Energy online or at your local store.
You're listening to the Lady Gang.
Our guest today is someone we have wanted on the podcast since the very beginning of Lady Gang 6 years ago. She's currently on her Vaccinated and Horny tour across the USA. You can purchase tickets right now at chelseahandler.com. And we're going to do a swipe up in our Instagram stories as well for tickets and perhaps a ticket giveaway. She was named by Time Magazine as one of the 100 most influential people in the world. We spent our lonely nights for over 1,000 episodes with her during her iconic late night run on Chelsea Lately. She took us on a wild ride on her Netflix series, Chelsea Does. And then honestly, she's done too much more as a star producer, executive producer to even say, or this podcast would be 9 hours long. But just know that she's a woman in Hollywood making shit happen. She's written 6 New York Times bestselling books, including the first, My Horizontal Life. And that was something that we mentioned a lot when we wrote our book as inspiration because it's just so raw and amazing and made me feel less alone about my vagina. Her latest book, Life Will Be the Death of Me, has inspired many, many, many convos on this podcast, and we are going to get to the oranges. But she's been on the cover of Shape, The Hollywood Reporter, Marie Claire, and just this February, she visited my home nation of Canada to ski Whistler in just her panties to celebrate loving her bodies and staying hydrated. She's an activist, a nude bookstagrammer, and her manager, the iconic Irving Asoff, was Chris Knight, my husband's boss, for over a decade. And when we first started dating, I watched him break out into hives each time the phone would ring, and it was Irving. So needless to say, I really hope that I don't f this up for all of the Knights that live in this house. Please welcome to the podcast, Chelsea Handler.
What a fucking intro, guys. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
There
You
was
made it easy.
so much more. Jesus Christ. Can you take a nap?
Oh, please. I'm napping all the time. All the time. The only way to get shit done is to make sure you're sleeping a lot, right?
It's true.
That is so true.
It is true.
I mean, you and J-Lo. I heard J-Lo like sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber like 10 hours a
J-Lo
night.
is not human, so don't compare me to her. Who knows what she's smoking or ingesting, because that is not a normal situation.
But also your body is doing the reversal that her body is doing. I'm
Yes.
like, how does your body get hotter? I'm so confused. Ben, your trainer, I'm obsessed with him. I want you guys to have a reality show, just the two of you. I just love seeing it, but your body's insane right now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I agree with that. And it is because of Ben Bruno. And also, it's also because I take so much shit. Like, I take peptides. I take all this anti-aging stuff from an anti-aging doctor. So the reversal of aging is in full effect.
Right.
And it's expensive. And I do it. So it's not natural. It's not like I just woke up and I'm like, God, I feel younger. I mean, I have changed a lot of my old, gross, bad habits. So yeah, that shows up too. And, you know, also just going to therapy and getting your shit together and getting your head out of your own ass takes a lot of years off of your life.
True.
It's very, very
Amen.
true. And I think that when you read and you really do a deep dive into all that you've accomplished in your life, in your career, I would be like, F it, I'm out. I'm sitting by the pool. I don't want to improve myself because I'm good enough. And yet you are on this journey. So what motivates you to like keep getting better? Because it does seem like a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes it's like, it's not an option. Like, you know, you kind of have to, you know, at the point in my life when I went into therapy to get better, it was because I just wasn't working for me. I was miserable. I was just so angry. You know, I was angry. I thought about the election and about Donald Trump, which I was, but it was a much deeper anger than that. It was, you know, anger over hurt over a lot of things. And so I was interested in kind of unpacking all of that for the first time in my life, like interested in a serious way, not going to therapy and being like, ooh, the, circling the drain and not talking about the real deep shit that's happened to you, which I've done multiple times in my life. This time was different because I just wasn't happy anymore. And I was a happy person for a really long time. So I had to. It wasn't like, oh, what else can I do? It was like, oh, this is an emergency, like appendectomy. And that's how I treated it. And then I also was like, I don't want to be one of those people that's in therapy for interminably for 15 years or 10 years or is in analysis for 5 years. Because, I want to get better and get fixed and, get onto the next mistakes. So I made sure that I took it very seriously. And that's why I ended up writing a book about it, because I did take it so seriously. And I just felt like, I have so much wisdom now to impart for others who can't afford to get a guy like that to help them figure out why they're such a bitch.
So we have a crazy ass oranges story that ties back to the book. So I'm going to let Becca take this away.
Okay. So I listened to your audiobook when it came out, Life Will Be the Death of Me. And I would be sobbing in my car. I would just be driving around LA and I'd be listening and I'd just be sobbing. And I'm not a crier. I'm somebody who deals with stuff and I internalize incredibly. And I am also can be a bitch. That is the outcome of me like hurting inside. So the book was transformative. I've been in therapy for a while and I went to a grief counselor in 2014 after I had a boyfriend pass away just in his sleep suddenly. We lived together and just one day you wake up and he was on a business trip and I get the call that he's died in his hotel room. So needless to say, I went on like a, 6-month chain smoking, drinking everything, sleeping with weird people. Like it's just the whole thing was a mess. And I didn't really do a lot of self-reflection until maybe 6 months in and I started to do the work, but I didn't feel like I scratched the surface for a while. But really, honestly, listening to your book, I think because you had a similar reaction to grief, because everybody's like, the only way out is through, and you have to go through the hard stuff and go through the darkness. And I'm like, what the does that mean? I just want to ignore it and I want to move forward and I don't want to be in pain. So anyways, long story short, I'm in my car, I'm sobbing. I'm texting Justin Anderson because he's a friend of mine. And I'm like, you have no idea what this is doing. And he's like, I'm so happy. She's so wonderful. And the orange story was so amazing. And then I listened to your podcast with the author of Signs, Laura Lynn Jackson. And she talks about how the orange is not a coincidence. And a lot of the time people who've passed over, they'll show you an orange. And that's like their way of saying, I'm not gone. So I'm driving to yoga, listening to this podcast and core power yoga, hot yoga. And I'm like, okay, Matt, that was the name of my boyfriend. If this is real, I'm so cynical, but like, show me a fucking orange. I dare you. And I will start to talk to you again. I'll start to acknowledge that wasn't just like the end. So I drive in, I park my car, I turn off the podcast. I walk up to the yoga studio. I sit down, I put my mat down. There's 2 minutes till we start. It's hot yoga. Nobody eats in that fucking room. The guy over my shoulder is peeling an orange. And I was like, oh my God, you couldn't write this. I've never seen one person have anything other than water in a yoga room. That happened that time. And I texted Justin and I was like, this is insane. I don't know if I believe it, but I have to start thinking about it. I was in Vancouver last year and I was on a run and I was up here for 6 months for work and I was just kind of low. I was sad. It was like the pandemic was happening and I'm on a run and I see somebody who literally stops me dead in my tracks, looks exactly like this boyfriend who passed away. And I start to kind of like take deep breaths. I'm sort of hyperventilating and I'm like, you know what? This is so weird. And the guy looks at me and he smiles like he knows me. And I keep walking and I keep trying to catch my breath. And then I look at a balcony and I'm like, you know what? Show me an orange. Show me a fucking orange, Matt. If this is like you saying hello, there's a guy who's taking an orange peel out from his front door. It's the winter time in Vancouver and throws it in a planter on the balcony right next to where I'm walking. And I'm like, you can't write this. It was so amazing. But I just want to say this book for me and your podcast that you did afterwards, it has done so much for me, like more than therapy for 6 years. I don't know why, but I just thank you so much for writing this book.
Oh my God. Your story is so beautiful. I'm so sorry about your boyfriend. That is so traumatic and so devastating. But Yeah, I think we could all benefit from looking at death a little bit differently than we do, right? I mean, it's energy. Energy doesn't die. That's science or physics. And you can't, it doesn't go anywhere. We transform. So just because something is gone in its physical form, which is a shell, which we can all get on board with that now. If anyone's believing that we're coming back as different people each lifetime, I mean, that's a little bit much of a stretch for me. But what I can get on board with is that when people die, they're not gone. My mother is here around me more than she's ever been before when I was alive. And my mom was very shy and kind of calm and demure, the opposite of me. And she wouldn't have enjoyed my life had she been alive. She would have enjoyed my success and my fame and all of the stuff that goes with it more as like a bystander. Right. And I feel her all the time. And I think, unless you believe in that kind of thing, you miss it. So the most important first step is being open to it and saying, hey, you can ask for a sign for anything, whatever's important for you. It sounds like yours is already the orange, but some people have different signs. And if you believe in energy transforming, then those people can have, if energy has a way of making itself be seen or heard. So when you're thinking of your loved one and you're thinking of your ex, or you feel his hand on your shoulder, or you hear his voice, or you feel, it's because he wants you to. He's trying to reach out to you. And if we all just believed in a little bit more, like, you're never going to experience magic unless you believe in it, and right now we call that magic when it's really not. It's just energy. So yeah, I totally believe in that stuff. And I get signs all the time. I was skiing on my birthday in Whistler last year, skiing. I was wearing clothes that day, and I skied right over an orange. And, of course, people have them in their backpacks and stuff, but I knew that morning that I was going to see an orange. I was like, my mom knows I'm skiing and I'm going to see an orange. And I sure enough did. So yeah, always look out for oranges, especially in places where they're not supposed to be.
Wait, I have a really interesting little anecdote. So when Kobe died last year, feels like 5 years ago, we had just had, because we've had this orange conversation on the podcast a few times, and we had just had the conversation a few weeks before about something. And as I found out he died, I was like, I didn't know him, obviously. I was not friends with him or anything, but I was driving my car. I get a text and I see it and I was like, holy shit, that's insane. And I'm not kidding. Like two minutes later, a truck pulls right in front of me carrying a whole bed of like 500 oranges. And I'm like, I don't have a personal connection to him, but that's such an insane thing to like think about, that I'm like, is it just affecting everybody? Like, that is so wild. Man. It'll get you.
Well, unicorns too, because my cousin died and my whole family had this big birthday party, and my niece of one of my cousins, she wanted a unicorn themed party, and we were like, unicorn? Like, that was so not her. We had never heard about unicorns, or like, no one was talking about that. And we're like, what? I mean, I know they're trendy now, but like, not in our family. We're all adults. But for her, she was like, and she was turning 8. And then I had that conversation with Laura Lynn Jackson where she said a lot of people come back as unicorns. And this was after we had the birthday party. And my whole family doesn't believe in anything. They're just like, oh, whatever trip you're on, we'll be, we'll listen to your bullshit, but we're not subscribing to the same theory. My family's just like had it with me. They're like, oh, what are you into this month? But the unicorn thing, like, was undeniable, because no one could explain why we were all buying unicorns for this silly birthday. And then she said that, and we're like, oh, that must have been Eddie saying, I'm here. So yeah, I think it doesn't hurt to ever believe in that stuff, whether you believe it to be true or not. Why not believe it?
Yeah. I love that.
I love that too. So I guess we've had the podcast now for 6 years, and we've all had.
Congratulations, girls. That's awesome.
Thank you. It's been a grind.
And I love that there are 3 of you.
Yes. It's funny. We just had new photos taken, and I sent them to my mom, and she goes, you guys really are morphing into the exact same person. And I was like, like at one point, one of us had short hair, and like, but now we all had gone to the same Botox doctor. We're basically the same person at this point.
I know, you guys are. From you, the 2 of you, you, Jack and Kelty, you guys you have very similar faces, and then Becca and Jack, you guys have a similar hair thing going on, but you also do. So yeah, you guys are all just triplets.
We're just like homeless people with Dr. Diamond injectables.
With a podcast.
Yes, exactly.
People with a podcast.
And Jack and I have a mutual ex-boyfriend, so we know that we're the same, because he just went from blonde to blonde to blonde. So it all like worked out really well. But anyway, we've had this show for a long time, and it's been quite a grind, and I think people don't really understand behind the scenes understands like how difficult these things can be. And so for us, when we look at you, we're like, oh, she just written another best-selling book. She has another deal with another streamer for another thing. And it seems like it's all success, but I know it's not. And so I wanted to ask you, what has been the highest, like, I'm fucking Chelsea Handler point in your career, and what has been the point where you were lowest and maybe like most fulfilled, least fulfilled?
I mean, it's good. It's ebbs and flows. I think a lot of my high points in my career, I wasn't even present for, I wasn't mindful of. I just was kind of going. I mean, I remember selling out 3 nights at Radio City Music Hall, and it's just such a blur because it was just that, I just went through a period, especially when I was doing Chelsea Lately, where I did everything. I wrote books, I did the shows, then I did After Lately, which was like a spinoff of Chelsea Lately. And then I was on tour for like 3 years. Every book came with a tour, and I burned myself out so badly that I couldn't do any of it for like 2 or 3 years. I mean, I made my deal with Netflix and I did a documentary series, but I took off like 9 months. And I'm a big proponent of just taking time off, because we play this game in our head that we have to say yes to everything to cement and lay the foundation of a career that's going to last for a really long time. And that's not true, but it's, you have to have a strategy of what you're doing. And I've never really operated like that. I probably would have benefited a lot more had I had a strategy. I just do what I like when I like it. But I did set myself up in a way that I don't have to do stuff I don't want to do. I don't have to say yes to things for a paycheck. But I would also really just make sure that when you need a timeout, because nobody's going to tell you that. Not your agents, not your managers. They're not going to say take a break until you do something to fuck up. And you're no good to anyone when you're exhausted and you're burnt out. So it's about just really being mindful of your energy levels and what you're, I know I'm my best self when I'm doing what I want to be doing, and I'm focusing on one thing at a time rather than 50. Right now I'm on this Vaccinated and Horny tour, and it's, I'm going to do another 1 hour special. So it's about getting it to where I want it to be and telling, and having it be perfect. It's like kind of like, surgery. Every time you get off stage, you're like, okay, I got to move this around. I got to do that. But I'm also developing my last book into a TV show, which for me to star in, Life Will Be the Death of Me. We're doing that kind of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, but with me.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I try not to overload myself anymore. I know that doesn't benefit me. And then I just do kind of everything half-assed. There's a book called Essentialism that I loved, which just talks about doing, when you're doing 6 or 7 things, you're kind of doing them all pretty mediocre. When you're doing 1 or 2 things, you kind of raise the level of the integrity. So that's what I try to do now. I try and take it easy. I don't have anything to prove to people. I'm not in that space, in that headspace. And if I ever even venture, well, I mean, you're talking about lows and highs. So like, I think it's, lows are when I've had more lows about my own self-consciousness, when I left my show or when I stopped doing my Netflix show, because everything, with me is tied to my career. It's not like I have a family and I have kids and I'm in this couple, or, I've always just kind of been representative of the career I've had. And at a certain point that just was like, well, wait, is that all that I am? Yeah. And when you walk away from stuff like that, you start to think, oh, wait, this is my whole identity. Yeah. Like, what else do I have going on right now? Like, if everything is tied to who I am as a public person, that doesn't feel right. It might feel good, but it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. She's a Keltie, guys.
I know.
Have you done the Enneagram test?
Yeah. I'm an 8. I'm an 8. An asshole 8.
My husband's an 8. And when you talked about an 8, I think it was on a podcast, or maybe, did you talk about it in your book?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I did. Yeah. I've talked about it a lot because the Enneagram is like, great way to test your personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An 8 is like a fixer, somebody who comes in and is just like, handles the situation, cleans up the mess, and also lacks empathy. Who's just like, I don't care I don't care how this problem is making you feel, but let's just move towards a solution.
Yes.
Oh, Keltie, you have a lot of 8 in you then.
I'm a 3. I'm an achiever. And so when you say like, I am only the things that I've put out, like I am also living a child-free life. So it's like, you're like, well, this is all I have. Everyone else has their children and like graduation and like the baby photos of like, I'm 12 months. And I'm like, cool, I have this awesome spreadsheet of like
right. Exactly. And that's how I felt my whole life. I'm like, whatever everybody else is doing, I want to do the opposite.
Yes. And so, it's very interesting to me because I was on Entertainment Tonight for a very long time, and I still pop in there once in a while, but I had an old executive producer, not the one that's there now, tell me that I would never get the big job over on TV because I wasn't a mother and no one could relate to me. And it was like pretty awful when that happened. And I think there's like, yes, there's the decision you make on your own, Chelsea, but then there's like the whole like society looks at you like you're some sort of fucking monster. And you can remember like Jennifer Aniston in like the 90s and 2000s, people are like, why isn't she a mother? Like, it's just such a dick move. So how have you overcome that? And like, can you give me some tips?
It makes, listen, quite frankly, that question alone, like what do you know, even today, people and my friends that I've known for years are like, you sure you don't want to be a mother? It's like, are you kidding me? Like, are you listening to anything I've been saying? Just because I can be nice to a kid doesn't make me a mother. I mean, I have 2 dogs that want to file a restraining order against me. So clearly parenting is not my métier. And I also, the more steadfast or the more annoying people are about those questions or assumptions and another, you know, societal construct that's made up by men, you know, to be married, to basically be, you know, dependent on a man, to create a family, like off. No way. Just on the merit of who it was designed by, I'm not participating in that. And I also feel like a very heavy responsibility to the people that, you know, look to me to set an example of the fact that you can go through life and you can have all of these things, and it doesn't have to be male dependent or child dependent. You know, I take that responsibility, you know, seriously. It's not like somebody's asking me or expecting me to do this, but I want to lay the groundwork that like, yes, you can do all of this. You can fall in love. You can have all of that, but you don't have to subscribe to these societal constructs that are just so, I mean, the wedding industry itself is a reason not to get married. You know, it's like Valentine's Day.
Scam.
It's just all a scam. It's all capitalism, and it's all, and I know people are romantic, but think about where those romantic notions, I think it's much more romantic to date somebody for 20 years than to marry them.
It's true.
Amen. Boom. Okay. I have so many things I wanted to ask you, but we're going to move on. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we have questions from inside our Lady Gang Facebook group.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to talk to you about Omni Lux. So I just got back from Vegas. My skin is really, really mad at me. It's never been sadder in my entire life. And I can't wait to put on my Omni Lux LED light therapy mask and give my skin a little bit of TLC. So for those that you don't know, OmniLux is the market leader in LED light therapy, and their at-home red light therapy device collection treats everything from redness, pigmentation, and inflammation to fine lines and wrinkles, and delivers visibly impressive anti-aging and skin rejuvenating results with literally no effort required. You've probably seen us all using ours on Instagram. They kind of make you look like Iron Man. They're so funny to look at, but they really, really do work, and they're so easy to use, just 10 minutes a day, and you just put it on and watch some TV and just go along with your day. So if you want to check out OmniLux, use code LadyGang50 at OmniLuxLED.com to enjoy $50 off your first purchase today. That's LadyGang50 at OmniLuxLED.com to enjoy $50 off your first purchase.
We love European Wax Center here at Lady Gang. That's why we're so glad they're a sponsor. And I secretly love it when I check the DMs of the Lady Gang account and people are like, I went for my first wax ever. It was free. Thank you for sending me. It really is amazing. And by the way, I have an appointment for later on this afternoon. You walk in and you're kind of nervous. And then after your wax, you strut out of there. You feel so good. We always strive to be our best. And when you visit European Wax Center, you get the best by the best. They have their amazing comfort wax, which really, I learned, only sticks to the hair and not the skin. So you don't get that like red or pulled off skin that you get with other waxing. It's amazing. Don't be scared. Head on over and visit waxcenter.com to book your reservation today. You can check out their new line of products. Their ingrown hair serum is incredible. And remember, your first wax is free. You're going to sign up. You're going to go in. You're going to say, hi, I want to try you. Your first wax is free. I love that so much. European Wax Center, and you can visit waxcenter.com. Starbucks Tripleshot Energy Extra Strength Coffee Beverage in a Can is a proud sponsor of LadyGang, and we are proud to drink them because when you're dealing with me and my K-type lists, you're going to need one, Jack and Becca. So listen, it is 225 milligrams of caffeine, which means it's a real extra deliciousness, zoom, zoom. And it's that Starbucks coffee that you love, and it's ready to drink. So if you're someone who's always on the go, I just stock my fridge with these, and I don't have time to stop for an iced coffee. I don't have time to stop for a coffee. You just take the coffee in the can. It's great for going on trips, taking to work for lunch. It's also really, really, really delicious and zero sugar. So we're so excited that Starbucks is a sponsor of LadyGang. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And I just want to recommend the cafe mocha or vanilla flavors to you. So find your Starbucks Tripleshot Energy online or at your local store. That's on the shelves at all the stores. Just pick up a 6-pack and put it in the fridge. You'll be happy.
Hey, ladies! Get funky. Ask the Lady Gang.
Okay, so for this part of our podcast, we usually just have generic questions, but our Lady Gangers were so excited that you're coming on, so we have questions for you from our community. So our first question comes from Anna Cummins. She said, I'd like to know how she was able to be confident enough to really stake her claim in a predominantly male-dominated field, i.e. the late-night talk show industry. I also work in a male-dominated field, and I find it so hard to really get the confidence to stand my ground.
Oh, yeah. I would just say, I think when you're thinking about your own confidence, it makes it sometimes more palatable to think about the confidence you're setting, like that you're demonstrating for the people that are going to come after you. So like when it's hard to do it for yourself, you think about your sister, your daughter, your nieces, whomever, you know, and would you tolerate that kind of behavior or that kind of treatment if it was any of them? Because sometimes we have more of an inclination to stand up for others rather than we do for ourselves. So in those situations, you just need to pretend you're doing this for all women, not just yourself. And it becomes a lot easier.
It's very true.
I love that. I mean, it's even the same kind of conversation when you're like talking bad about yourself, whether that's, you know, like low self-esteem or your body or whatever. It's like you'd never talk to your best friend like that. So I love kind of thinking it in that way where it's like, how would you stand up for somebody else that was in your position?
And also, like, I feel like people just need to fake it till they make it. I think as women, sometimes we overthink, like, walking into a room and how are we going to show? Like, just fucking go for it. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about getting the confidence. Just be confident, even if you're, like, scared inside. Like, just be a dick.
Yeah. I agree with that. You know, it's like anytime you have a negative narrative in your head, you got to flip it. You got to flip that script. If you have something negative to say about yourself, then replace it with something, then say something positive. You know, like you're walking into that meeting. It's like, I can do this. I mean, we are intimidated by men just because they're men. That's not enough, you know, to intimidate you. You've got to be more like fire than that. Like that's not going to throw me off my game. A bunch of guys, if anything, it's a motivation to be like, yeah, I told you guys, I've been telling you, we've been smarter this whole time. So start paying attention. You know?
I agree. That's why I go to the bathroom and I do that power pose and you look in the mirror and you're like,
on your squatty potty.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or whatever, wherever you need to do it, you know? I'm like,
that is like the power pose when you think about it.
Yeah, that is the ultimate power pose.
That comment really made me miss my squatty potty because I've been away from home for a month and I just thought I missed that more than anything in my life. That squatty potty.
It is the best.
The bamboo one is just, I
have it in my bathroom right now. Also, Squatty Potty is not our sponsor, but they should be. Okay, So next question comes from Katie Yates. She says, what are things that you can do to lift other women up in the workplace? What are some examples from Chelsea's career?
You know, I mean, on Chelsea lately, all we did was have my friends and people who weren't my friends on the round table to share that kind of platform with everybody, you know, to share it with all the women and that weren't getting the same kind of stage time. And I think that was a great example. You know, people become comedians so that they can be on stage with a microphone alone. And that was an opportunity to share that microphone with, you know, dozens and dozens of people who are hugely successful now and have huge careers. And so I take a lot of pride in that. And it's easy to do, I think, when it's in your nature. And, you know, and if it's not in your nature, if you start doing it, it becomes your nature. And it's the same thing for me on this vaccinated and in a horny tour. I have different girls opening up for me in every city. I always there's a guy that I was on a plane with a couple weeks ago. He's like, hey, can I open for you in Florida? I'm from Florida. I live in Jacksonville and I'm performing there. And I was like, buddy, if you think I'm hiring men to open for me when I have this platform, you're mistaken. And this is part of the problem with why people need to, white men specifically, not all white men, but there's a very specific type of white guy that needs to listen a little bit harder to what we're saying.
Yeah.
He's wearing flip-flops right now.
Yeah. And you know who else? Hey, you know who else wears flip-flops? The Taliban. So anyone who wants to defend wearing flip-flops as men, I want you to think about that.
Boom.
Wow.
Okay.
Just when we thought that is just wow.
Jess Steele says, I would love to know where she gathers her strength from. It cannot be easy to be in her position and have so many people judging your every single move. And this is specifically true with all the social media.
Do you get sick of these questions, by the way? Like, it's
no,
always...
are good. These are good, fresh questions, and you girls are fun. So no, I'm not sick of it at all.
She's like, do you hate us?
No.
How's it going so far, Chase? On like a 0 to 10. How would you rate your LadyGang?
11, you guys.
We're really, really nervous.
Can we open for you in Florida?
The reason she's climaxing, we are too, this whole time. The reason I'm asking this is because it has to be like, there's more to you than these like strong, standing up for yourself, being tough. I don't know. Is it there a certain point where you get sick of being asked, like, how do I do it? Or,
well, yeah, I mean, I'm not, fearless. I have lots of fears. But I want to walk through that stuff. Like I don't want to do a lot of the stuff that I do, but I make myself because I know that I'm going to be better for it. I like a challenge. Mm-hmm. I like to make sure that I'm not coasting. I mean, my life has been pretty gifted. I've pretty much had a great time all around, I mean, things have been a little bit easy for me in many senses. So with regard to being like, this badass or somebody that doesn't care about what everybody thinks, that's not true. I do. I know that's not a way to operate though, right? Like that, the confidence and the ability to, not really care or not focus too much on what other people think is an inside job. You have to deal with that on your inside. You have to make sure that is not, I don't want to be scrolling through Instagram like an idiot, mindlessly. Like I remember once I had picked up my phone 3 times during a phone call and I was on Instagram and I didn't even realize I had picked up my phone. And I was just like, okay, you're not even stop it. You have to do a reboot. And when I noticed myself getting crazy with things, like it's fine if I want to spend an hour checking Instagram, but that's what I should be doing. Go in my room and do that for an hour and then I'm done. It's like walking down the street and being on your phone. You're either walking down the street or you're on your phone. You're not doing both well. I just try and, I have a toolkit now from therapy. I know when I'm not focused or I'm not paying attention or if I'm partying too hard or I'm smoking too much pot or I'm drinking too much. And I go, all right, reel it in. Like, I have to have conversations with myself like everyone else. But at the end of the day, you define you. No one else does that for you. So you got to step it up and get into the game of having confidence and assure yourself that, you're here for a reason. It's not for other people. It's for you. And what is your purpose? Like, what do you want to give and what do you want to spread? Do you want to spread joy and light or do you want to gossip and be bitter? Like, what are we here to do? And I think the more the more you can get away from all the social media, it's not that you don't have to participate in it. I participate in it all the time, but the more you don't use that as your defining, kind of drum, the safer you become within your own world. And, all of us have to have conversations with ourselves repeatedly. So I can't express that enough that, you're not here as an accident and paying attention to what everyone else is doing is a waste of your time.
Mm. Have you ever, do you get DMs that you can't stop thinking about? Like when someone's like, Kelty, you have a horse face, and then you just hold on to that.
Oh, I've been called a horse for so many years. I actually like to think of myself as part horse at this point.
That's an honor, Kelty.
And
let's restructure it. You're a unicorn. You're a unicorn.
No, but are there ever moments, you don't have to say what they are, but have there been moments where someone you get thousands of people being like, you're the fucking best. I love you. Your books. Blah, blah, blah. And then one person's like, you're the most terrible person in the world. And you hold on to that for longer than you should.
No.
You're gone. I mean, you're an 8.
How does that feel like?
Because that's black and white. I mean, who's writing that? Would you ever write that to anyone?
No.
Never?
No.
Right. So then there you go. There's your answer. It's no one you would ever speak to in real life. And that is a perfect example of letting a complete stranger take over your day.
Yeah.
Wow. So no more to that, girls.
Godspeed.
We're going to try.
So you've now spent an episode of Lady Gang with us, and in one of your, I can't remember what special it is. I need to go back, but you basically said that you have this innate power to look at people and decide what drugs they need.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And so do you remember what
it was in your book?
I'm a pharmacologist. It's a daily practice of mine, you guys. So
I love this so much.
I have notes in my phone from that part of the book where you talk about all the things like rose hips, and like I actually still have it in something for jet lag. It's like in my phone as if my doctor gave it to me, but it's you for your boobs,
Dr. Chelsea.
Tender boost, rose hips once a day.
No. This is for your boobs. This is primrose. Sorry, evening primrose.
For like boob pains,
tenderness,
cramp, moodiness, any PMS related stuff.
I love that it's like directly by your desk.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Wait.
It's like for emergencies.
Like Dr.
She has her whole pill. Yes.
And per vigil for jet lag. Like these are notes in my phone. Like,
I need Becca.
I need a vigil.
Okay, I copy paste that.
If only Becca was as passionate about her work for Lady Gang as she is taking notes on things that you've done, Chelsea. But anyway, that's a conversation we'll have
Chelsea. It's fine. It's totally fine. I will leave. I'm available.
So could you go to each of us? Obviously, Jack is our OC chill girl. Becca's, and I'm obviously on one.
Nuts.
Can you prescribe for us what you think we might need?
Becca, you are not a pot girl, right?
I love pot.
Oh, you do.
And she did the
ayahuasca.
But she's not like, you're not like a pot. You're not like a daily pot. You're a nightly pot.
I'm a nightly pot. Well, sometimes I'll do a daily pot. Like I'll do a daily edible and walk around the city and like have the time of my life.
Okay. So Kelsey, you don't do pot.
I did last night because I was like on the verge of a kelt-down, which is like a meltdown, but it's a
Well, thank you for explaining that. I put that together pretty quickly. So
I had
very complicated.
One little pull on a e-cigarette thing that my brother left in town, but no, I'm like a cookie kind of girl. Like I do a sweet. I did a McDonald's hot fudge sundae yesterday.
That's her drug.
Right. See, yeah, because some people are pot, some people are into cannabis, and some people just don't need it at all. And yeah, so Kelsey, I could see that that's not your thing, right? What about you, Jack? Are you into weed?
I used to be, and then every time I smoked, I have like existential crises and think about everybody dying around me. So now I only smoke when I'm going to have sex. And then that's it, because then it makes the sex better, and then I just pass out.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes.
Okay. See, I never think of cannabis as like a sex drug, but I guess.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I guess I'm stoned all the time, so how would I know? But I had these great mushrooms, microdose like psilocybin. I was in Spain, and my friend had them, and had microdose LSD, which I had never done before. Which I was like, no, you guys test that out and get back to me, because my tolerance has definitely taken a dip in the last 6 months. And so, but I did end up trying it after I saw my friend on it. And it's so great because I think, especially the chocolates, the psilocybin chocolates, I get them at this place in Venice, but they're becoming available pretty much everywhere. Yeah. And, it's just there's no hallucinogenic component. It's just like an upper, like I do it when I ski all the time. It just makes everything a little bit more crystalline, a little bit more brilliant, and you're in a great mood. And the same is like for the microdosing of LSD, because I've been to a lot of conferences where all of this stuff, the data that they show you for all of these drugs is incredible if they're done the right way. You don't have to trip your balls off. You just need a little uptick, and it kind of just changes your mood. So I would recommend that. I would say everyone should try that. When you can, do it in a safe environment where you're not going to go crazy. Take a half of what you think you're supposed to take just to be safe, because you'll be surprised about how imperceptible it can feel. Like it's almost like you can't even feel you're on something, but you just know you're in a good mood. And especially if you have to be around people that might potentially annoy you, I always feel like medicine helps,
Amen. Boom, boom. So on that note, everyone, please go microdose and go visit Chelsea on her Vaccinated and Horny tour. You can buy tickets now at chelseahandler.com. We will be opening for her in Jacksonville, Florida in our We're so excited. And podcast listeners, I know you're already spending many hours with us every week, and we invite you to listen and spend time with Chelsea on her fabulous podcast, Dear Chelsea. I think the second season is just about to roll out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're so excited for you. And Lady Gang listeners, we're giving away a free pair of tickets to Chelsea's Vaccinated and Horny tour. So head on over to @TheLadyGang, and you're going to win a pair of tickets to any stop on her tour. She has generously gifted us a set of tickets, which is major. So thank you so much.
I'll be there in Austin.
I'll see you in Austin. Thank you.
So
girls.
excited. Thank you so much.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats.
Thanks, Chelsea. Oh, and you can follow her. Obviously, we're already all following you at Chelsea Handler. All right, we will
See you next Tuesday.
Thanks for listening. The Lady Gang is produced by Alex Ingber, Steve Delameter, and Jared Monaco. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And if you love it, share it with your friends on social media. Like, oh my God, I just listened to Lady Gang. This episode's so great. Swipe up to listen. And if you really want to, which we know you do, please follow us on social at Kelty, at Becca, at Jack Vanek, and at The Lady Gang. Sign up for our newsletter at theladygang.com and join our secret Facebook group. It's super fun. See you next Tuesday.